Sarah's case was my first real exposure to the way that the criminal justice system fails vulnerable youth who've been exploited and abused. I was serving a life without parole sentence in the state of California for having killed the man who had sexually abused and groomed her and trafficked her from the time she was 11 years old till the time she was 16 when she eventually killed him. Was an actual response of a judge and a prosecutor in the United States of America that they would come across a case like this and say, you know, what the proper response is for a child in this situation, to prosecute them as an adult and send them to a cage where they'll die. Getting involved in her case and fighting for an executive pardon and clemency by Governor Schwarzenegger at the time was really, really helped set my career trajectory in another direction of reforming the juvenile and criminal justice system. And so, thankfully, you know, Sarah she was commuted. Her sentence was commuted. She came home in 2013, and I started working with her on a variety of different campaigns to end life without parole sentences for children. There needed to be a different mechanism for how these kids are treated, particularly kids who are child sex crime victims, when they commit acts of violence against their abusers. Because oftentimes they don't get the benefit of traditional self-defense laws. And so it was through that Sarah's Law was born. So many of these young girls and boys who are facing these very severe consequences. And, you know, in part, Sarah's Law is a cathartic process for Sarah to you know, go back and change the way that kids, you know, will be treated going forward. While not all of the cases are as sympathetic as Sarah's, many of these kids in the criminal justice system who commit very serious crimes are dealing with severe and significant amounts of trauma that has gone unaddressed for much of their lives, and which is the primary reason why they're in the justice system to begin with, and why we really need to prioritize the successful treatment and rehabilitation of these children, and not simply sentence them by the same standards that we would use for adults, or give them a lengthy term of incarceration as some sort of punishment or penance for their transgressions, but really look to how we ended up failing these kids in the first place and really work to remediate the harm that was done to them earlier in life that we failed to prevent from happening in the first place. By enacting policies that better reflect the redemptive potential of all youth, we'll be a better society for it, and we'll give our children second chances.